Hey peace viewers and subscribers, I'm back again this evening for some more changes to my system. I was running on 2 sticks of DDR4 and I took other 2 sticks out. I thought it was due to incompatibility issues, which was causing me not to boot. So now the system's been stable, so we know those 2 sticks are good. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to put in 2 sticks of Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro, and these are 2 16 sticks, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, so 32 gigs in total. Let's pop these buggers in and let's see if these will work. So there, the 2 of them right there, they do light up. So like I was mentioning in another video, I'll show you today, give you a better idea. So see that little slot there that got the black square next to it? When you correlate that to the motherboard on the RAM sticks slots, you'll see there's a slot there with no pins on one side. So that's how you know that you have the memory in the right way, because you line up the ones with no pins with the black square. So now we got to turn off the system first. Yeah, I always got to do that. Alright, so turned off. Now what we're going to do is power off to the power supply, and then we're going to let it power down. Let power cycle all the power out of the system, and let's put this stick of memory in. Let me see. I think it goes this way. It's hard to see when, you know. But I've been having some issues with these sticks before in my other system. So hopefully it will boot this system, because this motherboard does have a higher threshold of using higher speed memory, and this may benefit from this. So now let's turn that back on. We'll put 1 stick in first. Power back on. Let's turn it back on. Stick lit up. Lights are on. Screens are flickering. Could be a good sign. Okay, screens went dead. Give it a minute. Sometimes it takes a second for it to kick in. Like I said, one of my Corsair 6, I was under suspicions that it is bad, so I'm just starting with 1 stick, and that did nothing. So let's turn it back off again, and power back off. Perfect. It didn't seem like it clicked in there properly, but it did light up, so if it wasn't in there properly, it wouldn't have lit up. So on this board, the black chip goes on, that goes up top, the black little square next to the slot. Back on. Power switch. So the other stick didn't seem to let the system boot up, so I took that one out, and I'm putting the other one in, and let's see what the outcome is after that. Okay, lights are all on. Then we don't see any arrow lights. I didn't see any flickers from the screen at all. Oh no, made that one. Okay, so we had a 16 and we had a 16 gig. So obviously, I don't know why, but this one doesn't seem to be working. So what I'm going to do is put this in the slot next to it and see if we get a different outcome. And now the screen went black. Everything shut off. Oh, there we go. As Rob came up. So that stick worked. I know I really shouldn't be mixing two different types of memory, but it's what I have and it's what I got at the time during COVID. And I was going to buy 4 sticks of new memory, but ended up had to replace the motherboard, so that's pretty well off the table for a while. Alright, so let's see what happens. Just got to see if we can do it in Windows. I think it will. Should be no problem. Oh no, it's just I found the computer like with it takes a little bit of time to load, but yet it's on an NVMe drive, the main boot drive, so I just don't understand sometimes why it's so slow sometimes. I have to do a little bit of investigating, but the motherboard's fine, the games run perfect. Checked the overclocked CPU, I did change the settings down a little bit to make it more stable when I'm playing gaming. Okay. The lights are flickering, the screens are white, but it's still not doing nothing. It's trying to boot. Oh, there we go. I guess I could enable fast boot, but I hate enabling fast boot because sometimes you enable fast boot, I find it doesn't allow you to access your BIOS, and then you're going through the whole process of taking the CMOS battery out, clearing your BIOS, and all that fun jazz. Oh, naturally, when I'm doing the YouTube video, it has to go into a Windows Update option. What a surprise! Jeez, it seems like every time I go to do something, there's like always an update. Same like every time I go play a video game now. I play Call of Duty, it's getting to the point, it's getting on my nerves. Every time you turn your back, there's an update of some sort. Is it really necessary to need to be updating it that much? I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but you know. And I'm liking the ASRock board so far. I do like the option of having a video card support on the motherboard so that you don't have GPU sag, a video card sag, which is really good. And I'm quite surprised it actually works very well. There's like, I haven't seen it sag anything yet. It's like perfectly dead level. I was kind of skeptical at the time that it was actually going to work, because I was like, well, how could it not work? Because, you know, but this card too does have a metal backbone as well, the metal plate on the back, so it does make it a little stronger than the view cards that are made of all plastic. And the Radeon XFX, I haven't really had no complaint about it so far. I was really quite impressed with it. I do mine with it once in a blue moon, crypto mining, when I'm not using my system or when I'm working. And I find that card that one is an RX 7600 XT with 8 gigs of RAM. I know I want it more. My other card that I have that's gone in for repair has 12 gigs, and I'm thinking of converting back to that. That is a different series. It's in the 6000 series, which in reality it could outperform the new card that I got, the RX 7600. But I mean, yes, correct. That was on a budget, So I did that because I was budgeting it, and I probably shouldn't have budgeted that way. I should have actually went out more. So that's one stick of memory we got to work. So alright, so let's go power down. Alright. Wait for it to power down properly. Turning it off with your button sometimes is a good idea, but if you have no course of action, then yes, press the button and restart it. But if you can wait it out, I wouldn't suggest using the turn off, shutting it off with our hard boot, or shutting it down with a hard boot, because sometimes what will happen is it'll damage your Windows files, and then your Windows won't boot up, and if you don't have a backup image of your hard drive on another drive, then you're just going to lose everything. So you don't want to go down that road either. So we're all done here. So let's power off now. Okay, like I said, wait for all the spin fans to spool down. Okay, all the lights went out, so it basically de-energized all the caps on the board, so we don't have to worry about anything getting electrocuted or shocked. So let's put the second stick in, and I'll show you what the sticks look like once I get it all set up. Right now I'm just checking out the sticks in memory and see which good sticks I have left and which ones are no good. Alright, so we'll put that one back in with the other stick. And we'll turn her back on again. Boot her back up. Alright. Power button on the top. Both memory sticks light up. Okay, all three screens flickered, and one is still white. ASRock emblem came up. Fantastic. Alright, let's go delete and access the ASRock BIOS. And basically this is what the ASRock BIOS looks like. And that's kind of weird. Okay, let me turn this around. Okay, so that's what the BIOS looks right there. So that's basically what I'm running in my system at this time. But I have 4 sticks in here of the 16 and 132, but I'm missing 116 stick. I may have overclocked my speed, because I know at certain point you put certain kind of memory in, it can cause it to drop one of the sticks because you're using at a higher speed. So let me see here. We'll power it off again. So what sticks are here first before we jump to conclusions here? So we got B1 and B2. So what that's telling me is that we're missing one of the sticks of course air. So the stick I just put in is probably not working properly. But before we jump to conclusions and do that, for that, let's go to our overclocking tweak. And let's go to our memory. And let's bump this down to a little lower. Down to, what did I change it to? Yeah, I was at 4400 overclocking it, so I'm going to drop it down to 4200. And let's see if that picks up the other stick. If not, we'll try a few different settings. I'll try the default and see if it detects it. If not, I'm just going to have to remove that stick, and I'll have to put a stick of XPG data memory in. sure didn't like that, that's for sure. Alright, so it's powered down, shut the power off again. Alright, let the caps and all the fans and everything de-energize. Okay, we're good. Now, pop out this stick. Let's see if it boots. And just by fluke it booted. I know I'm up to like, I put that ADAT in, I'm going to be up to like 2 different brands when okay. 1 light, 2 lights. There's the 2 red lights that didn't come on yet. There's the 2 lights are on, hard drive's on, but nothing. Back to 1, 2, there we go. So that booted. Now let's check and see if that stick is still detectable. So we're up to 64 gigabytes now. So that should bring us up to about, let me see, what's this stick? I think this is an 8 gig. Yeah. So an 8 will give me 72 gigabytes. So alright, so let's put this stick in and let's see what the outcome is with this one. Okay. That's a good thing because it did take the 4200 on that other stick. I know this memory is very picky on overclocking it, so we may not be able to get, we may be able to get 1 more extra stick in there. Okay, let's save and exit. Alright, hold the button. Let's turn her back off. Alrighty. Turn the switch off. Goes this way. Lit up. That usually takes a little longer for the RGB to kick in. I do have another stick of that available. What's in my mining rig? Mining rig will take 16 gigabytes, so I retried it. Maximum is only like 8 gigs of memory we'll use. Haven't been really mining with a CPU on the mining rig because the Intel processor I have, it just seems like it just causes the system overheat when we boot, so I basically had to disable it and just mining with the GPUs. You can't get very much off of CPU mining anyway, so GPU is probably better anyway. Alright, I'm just waiting for it to do the memory test. Sometimes by changing the memory and making it a different size or a different brand, sometimes like when your BIOS won't boot, sometimes by doing that it'll actually trick the BIOS and it kind of puts it back to original defaults or allows you just to get around it. That's what I think anyway. I think that did not work, Houston. I think what I'm going to have to do is take the stick out, change the speed again, and put the stick back in and see if it'll boot. Alright. off. With the capacitors and the fans. Speed. Alright, let's pop that one out. There we go. Power on. Alright, so it's definitely gonna load this time because all three screens popped on. Or not. Still doing the memory test check. Yeah, I got a project going on in the future here. I'm gonna get this stuff all organized. Because when you got so many computer parts or extra parts hanging around, you really don't want to throw them away. So let's bring that down to 4,000. Save changes. Okay, we're going to reboot first. I'm going to see if it will take the new speed first before we put the other memory in. Because if we don't test it, we won't know if it's the memory the cause or it's the setting. Okay, so it just rebooted itself. I don't know if it's going to like that. Motherboard has memory check lights on the LEDs. It is convenient. Okay, the third one came out. I should go back to the second one over there. And then it should go. Okay. Alright. One out. Go. Okay, so we took that, so let's shut this out. So all the sticks are stable at that speed. Alright, so now let's put the stick back in again. This is where it takes a lot of time consuming when you're doing repair or building a system. Sometimes trying to find the maximum best settings. The other stick should light up. Alright. Okay. The lights didn't pop on the motherboard yet. I mean, the monitors didn't come in yet. Ooh, cool. Let's go delete. So we got another stick on the go here. And let's go back into the BIOS again. And yes, we have 72 gigabytes. So, I've never had that memory run at that speed, ever. This motherboard was definitely a good purchase, that's for sure. Okay, now let's save all these changes. Everything looks good. Sometimes you'll want to save the settings, sometimes it'll revert back to the default settings. Okay. Alright, turn it back on. Alright, let's reload. Let's see what the outcome is. place. Just looking at the RAM lights now. And the only thing I'd watch out with this board that I discovered, I plugged in my front USB ports. So they have it that the connector plugs in the side. So anyway, I went and plugged it in and plugged it into the board, and didn't that it went and pushed out, and it actually broke the side of the USB plug off. The plug is still good, it's still there, it's still on the board, everything is fine, it works, the USB ports do work. The bracket that's on there does protect it from moving, but basically if you're doing that, put the GPU bracket on before you put the video card in, so that it will push all the cords down, because the bracket on the GPU support holds that wire down from pulling up. So just a little suggestion, use that bracket. Now, I don't know what's going on here. Out of all the years I've done computer repair and built systems, I've never experienced so much electronic issues since COVID. It's like ever since after COVID, it's like electronics are just not the same. There's a lot of fail rate on components. It's like things are just being made inferior. And I've never come across that in a long time. That actually happened, but no, everything's working good, it's fine. It's just, it's kind of a pain that happened. I think it's due to the fact that I have rubber grommets that you use to hide all the wire, and I think what happened was the rubber grommet kind of pushed up on it and caused that to happen. But they should have put a little stronger connector on it there. I don't think it was a real good idea to lay it down on the side anyway. It's better off if you just left it plugged in from the top. You want to do that, just make it the new motherboards, where they got it on the back instead of the front. Or just like a daughter board plug or something, you can put a board somewhere else. Okay, system is loading. Windows did narrate on me, which is a good sign. Sometimes when you do overclocking, Windows doesn't like it, and you have to play with the settings and diddle daddle with it until you find the sweet spot. And sometimes those sweet spots take a lot of time to find. And then I got all these videos I've noticed on TikTok, and videos about video cards and the newer ones and the older ones. I'm like, it all depends on what your settings are on your card. Like, you could put your settings on ultra fast and your frame rate's are going to go down on ultra. So if you put your turn it down to high instead of ultra, it will actually be beneficial, because then it puts your frames up per second. But it all depends on what kind of game player you are. Like, if you like over 60 hertz, then that probably would be good. Now she's loading now. Icons came up. It'll probably take a few moments after changing some stuff around that Windows will decide, to move on to something new here. Alright, so now let's turn this around and I'll show this. So, there's with it all cleaned up. Still got to clean the hard drives. I didn't get to that yet, not doing that tonight. But there's the other 2 sticks of memory. Ooh, pretty. The lights on it. So one is the Corsair one, the next one's the XPG-A data one. So it seems to be working perfectly actually. So Windows is loading there now. And I find with the systems now too, you gotta let them load a little bit too. I find when the AI system software kicks in, it's basically a tool that scans the system and determines what the best possible configuration is while you're using the system. So it makes fine adjustments during the process. Not every computer does have that, but this new motherboard apparently has it integrated in it. So, and MSI does make one too as well. My other B550 board was like that too as well. Okay, let's see if it loads properly. Times are like still loading. I find it takes a few moments for my system to get it fully up to running snuff. Okay, that's working, that's loading. Working.
It doesn't fit on the table, but it's NVIDIA, it's disgusting, and it weighs.
That's working, that's loading. The browser's loading, no problem. Way better. Way better now. Cool. Now let's check. Right click on our Windows icon at the bottom on the taskbar. And then you go to System. And you can access your control panel and device manager by doing that. Not a lot of people realize that, but if you right click on your Windows key, brings up all the old options, brings up device manager, system, and if you want to bring up the old control panel option in the search field, just type in control panel and then it will automatically load the control panel and give you the old layout, like the Windows 2000 and Windows XP layout. A lot of people don't realize that, so you can access it that way as well. Now what I'm doing is I'm just checking to see if the memory is being detected by Windows, and it is. And then let's go Control Alt Delete, and let's go to Task Manager. And what we're going to do is we're going to check the processes and the usage, see how much memory is actually being utilized in the system. Oh, that's good. We're only using 12% of the memory, so I'm not using up all this memory anymore. I don't know why they did that with all the web browsers. It's like every web browser now, it's like, it's not a tab in the program. It's like you're individually opening apps. Like let's say for example, you have Edge and you go into Control Alt Delete, you'll see all different edges. It's like instead of like loading one edge and it has tabs like it used to, But like now, like when you load it now, it gives you, let's say you go to Edge, and let's say you have about 8 or 9 different tabs opened. That's 8 different sessions of Microsoft Edge. So I don't know why they configured it that way. I don't think, to my opinion, I don't think that is very beneficial. You'd have to have a lot more memory, that's for sure. Let's see here. Let's take this off. I don't like that efficiency mode on certain things. I just find it causes so many performance issues. I'm all about saving the environment, but I'm not all about compromising some things. Like, come on. Let's see here. A prime example right now, like Microsoft Edge right now is using like 2,000 megabytes. That seems to be a lot in my book. I don't know, myself, I've been using a lot of different web browsers lately. I think I'm going to discontinue using Edge altogether. I find it does run better. I find it does run better over Firefox now. I just don't like the fact that it has so many tabs opened. I noticed it does that on Edge 2 as well. So now my system is loading everything now, so it's a lot more quicker now. It's where the performance should be at. Okay, that is done, that is done. That looks good. Confirm that, that looks fine. It's loading better now. Internet Explorer and Windows Explorer is open quickly. There's no delay anymore. Instantly. Perfect. That works good. That should do it for the night. So basically, I've just done a few little modifications. I did show you in my BIOS. So basically, if you are having problems, system's not booting with one of your memory sticks, check the specs of the memory and see what the specs are. And if you're not sure, just keep pulling the speed down slowly, gradually, and then you'll find a sweet spot where your system will boot. So it may take a few boots to do that. You did notice I took about 8 or 10 boots there for me to be able to find 2.6 that do work. I reduced the speed on this, and this one is still not working. And this motherboard does support enough memory, like it supports 128 gigabytes, so there shouldn't be any problems. So basically, that is everything, and we'll be creating another video soon, cleaning up those hard drives and organizing all that. But I'm just waiting for a new SATA card, and well, I mean by new SATA card, meaning that the card that I'm buying it will have an NVMe drive on it, and it will have one NVMe and one NGFF. So I'm going to use 2 different kinds on the card. It will allow me to do that. And the other card that I do have, it doesn't detect any of the new NGFF drives. I've tried it. It says it does support it, but for some odd reason it just does not read those cards at all. So basically, I took all the cards at that. I put the NVMe drive in, and it works perfectly. But if you don't have the proper drive, it's not going to function properly with this card. So then I don't have any other NVMe's, and that card supports 4 NVMe drives, which I have to buy 4 NVMe drives for that card to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that card, and when I do get some, I want to wait it out, and I want to keep an eye and see if I can find some NVMe on sale, because there's a lot of faster speeds out now. So I may be able to find a deal that I can buy 1 terabytes and have about roughly 4 terabytes on that card. I'll just put it in my mining rig. It's where I had it before. It's so that my mining rig doubles up as a storage, so I can access data from the drive through my network. So that's basically what I got going on there. So I don't want to move those drives or anything until that card comes in, because that card that comes in does support 1 SATA, so that's going to be able to get another one of my hard drives up. But what I'm going to have to do, that's not going to solve my problem. I still have another issue. The other issue, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to use my PCI 2.0 slot, and I'm going to use a riser cable, and I'm going to mount it this way because my case has the ability to mount 3 on the top system and 3 on the bottom system. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a card that has 3 PCI slots on it, and then the riser card will plug into the board and it'll give me 3 additional slots. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a SATA card, which I'm going to use a high-end one that uses the high-speed SATA connection cables that have the metal connectors on the end and everything, but the little better, higher quality hookup for my hard drives. And basically 1 cable supports 4 SATA drives. So in the future, if I want to put in more drives, more HDs or more SSDs, I will have the capacity of expanding, because I have more room in this case. I can put in probably another, let me see, I could probably put in 2 more cages. Pantex sells this case that you can purchase more hard drive carriages, so you can put more drives in. But the problem with the one what I have right now is that you have to cut out some brackets. There's some brackets that are next to it, and what happens is when you plug the drives in, you clip the drives in, you can't plug them in the power cord or the SATA cord because those metal things are in the way. So in the future, if I go to start adding more ports in there, I'm going to have to probably zip them off. There's about 4 of them, and then that'll give me the ability to install more hard drives. I know you're probably saying, why do I do all that? It just, what happens is that I have one backing up another. So basically I have 2 drives in 1 cage. So I use 1 drive and I use the other drive as a backup. Then 1 drive is the main drive and it's a backup. Then the main drive and then backup, and so on. So each hard drive is being backed up on another hard drive. So if one of them fails, you're not going to lose the data, but the data is going to be on the other drive. So I'm putting in a fail-safe. So basically, if one drive fails, then I don't lose all my data, and my data is copied onto the other drive. So that's why I got this on the go here. And what I'm going to do with my new card that comes in, I'm going to put it in a RAID mode, and I'm going to set up a RAID, and then I'm going to go into a little more detail and get that set up and go down that road. And basically I will be creating another video soon on cleaning them out, and I think I may hook up my CPU temperature and GPU temperature sensors, but I need electric. It's a foil tape. It's like a plastic tape that's electric tape that's specifically designed to tape sensors down onto electronics so that you can monitor it or ground it out, or so keeps it from grinding. Keeps it from grounding out onto other electronics. So it's kind of like an insulation tape that you put on. So basically what would happen is I would just lay my heat sensor on a component, and then I would just tape it on, and then it will monitor the temperatures. Now that has the only reason I really wasn't using it. I found there was a lot of wires running everywhere, but I figured I like to have something that can monitor my system. Maybe in the future I'll buy a new liquid cooler, and I'll have the digital display with the temperature and everything on it, so that you can just eliminate that altogether. But I just have it available. I may as well use it. If I have it, I may as well use it. And you can control your fans from it. You can control the RGBs from it. You can control how fast the fans go. So it is a very useful tool. I was using it before, but when I built I had it running before, but it just the wires kept coming off on me because I had no tape left. I just reused tape that I used on the previous build, and it just never ever got hooked back up. I just tidied it up and put it up inside until I get back to it. So that is everything. If you do like this video, hit like, subscribe, and comment. And I do thank you for your time, and I'll have more videos in the future. And see you all on the flip side.